This is the Notice Law. Always question, always explore. Today's topic, Felix and Dave. So for episode 2, I want to kind of switch it up a little bit and go to more of a softer piece just because I didn't want to be depressing the entire time. I felt like You Can't Die Here was something to start off on, but I also want to add a little balance to it. This episode is dedicated to music. It was David Whitwell and Felix Tredici, two like very eccentric kind of classical musicians, and to me I think there is something great about how they made classical music interesting, because honestly, like, if someone to say they're going to do a doc in classical music, I just don't care. I don't care. I like classical music. I don't want to learn anything about the musicians at all. As Americans, if we're not into that field, we think it's very stuffy and, bland. But it's not. It's actually very colorful. Without further ado, I'll give you the first doc. It's David Whitwell. Hope you enjoy.
I came in with a lot of ideas already about how I wanted to play, what I wanted to play, under what circumstances I wanted to play what I wanted to play, and at a conservatory that doesn't jive super well a lot of the times. All the way up to my very final recital, I was completely nude for one piece. I had a video of myself being waterboarded for another piece. In general, the school really didn't like a lot of the things I was doing. So, needless to say...
This is David Whitwell. He's known internationally as a trombonist, provocateur, and activist. Today, we'll find out why Dave isn't wearing shoes, and how classical music can sometimes be revolutionary.
Socially, politically, it's done all of those things in the past. There's a whole world of politics and emotions, and it all goes on behind the tuxedos and behind the ball gowns and behind the stages of Carnegie Hall and Lincoln Center, and all of that kind of starts at conservatory. It's where all of these people, they come, when they're 14 or when they're 18 or 21 or 22, and the highest thing that they can hope to get out of that experience in the conservatory is a solo performance with the orchestra.
And this was a problem. Dave's relationship with the school wasn't the best.
So the main purpose of what they're trying to do is not creating art. It is reproducing art. So imagine if there was a painting school where all everybody did all day long was sit in front of canvases from old masters or something and try to copy them as closely as possible. Like, this would be just boring as shit, right?
Any conservatory would have had a problem. Dave's just that type of guy. He always wants to challenge the world around him. And the way he does that is through music.
So I had been working on the Darius Milhaud trombone concertino for about 4 years at that point. If I'm being completely honest, I really don't like this piece. However, if I was gonna win this competition, I had to play something in the standard repertoire. It was considered very modern at the time. I'm trying to make it 2015 modern, not 1950s modern. When I perform, I don't really concentrate on being technically perfect. The audience doesn't care, if you play a note in one position or as opposed to another position. As long as you're telling a story with what you're playing, that's what people pay to see. When you do a jazz performance, you get, people clapping, people yelling, people, being really positive and encouraging while you're playing, and that's something I really enjoy. But in an art music situation, if you were to look at the judges during this, you would have seen arms crossed, perhaps somebody jotting something down on a piece of paper, and that is it, just stone cold silence. The only feedback you really ever get is when they tell you you've won or you've not won. I had a lesson with my teacher, and actually I went to the bathroom during my lesson, and on the way back I saw the announcement that I had won. And it's something that just in general in conservatories, trombonists don't often win these kinds of competitions.
But this isn't where the story ends. The whole point was to push the boundaries of art music. And that's exactly what Dave was going to do with this performance. And here is how he did it.
Yeah, we had a conversation in person, and I said, hey, I'd really like to take this piece to an entirely new place, and I'd like to add a jazz drummer, and I'd like to have a large improvisation section in between the first and second movement that involves me and a drummer and a bassist. And I said I would pay the extra drummer and I would pay the extra bassist. And he got in touch with the Darius Milhaud estate, who controls the way in which Darius Milhaud's music is performed, because he's deceased. And they said in no uncertain terms, no, you may not do that to this piece, otherwise we would like our music back, please. After I figured out I wasn't allowed to add large improvisation sections and I wasn't allowed to add more instruments, I dove into all the articulations and the actual fabric of the music. I cranked up the tempo probably by about 25 to 35%. At one point, the conductor told me, like, look, this is the pedal is to the metal. This is as fast as we can go, and I sort of had to compromise on a few things in that regard. The reasoning behind going barefoot to play in front of an orchestra is practical, and it's a bit theoretical. The practical part of it is that I tend to move a lot when I play, to the point where it can be a little distracting. It's even been described as nauseating. So feeling the ground under my feet, no socks or shoes in between, helps center me quite a bit more. And the more theoretical reason behind it is that in everything I do, I'm trying to strip away the pretension and just get right down to the art of what's happening. So wearing just a simple pair of pants and a simple black shirt and putting all the focus on the sound and letting everybody feel as natural and comfortable as possible, I think really gets people into a place where they're much more receptive to new ideas. When I perform things, especially when I perform repertoire, I like to really stay in the moment and let each performance be unique. I don't like to decide on something and then dogmatically stick to it just because I've arbitrarily decided this is the way I'm going to play it. At one point, that concertmaster walked up to me just before the performance and said, hey, we really need to know what tempo you're going to be going with for these particular sections. And I had to tell him, I don't know. We're going to find out together. I guess we'll see on the other end of it what's going to happen. Classical music is pretty much fucked. If the idea of making a living playing an instrument really well and in a really interesting way is to survive, we have to begin to be more relevant. Classical music can communicate in ways that other types of art never really can. It's one of the most abstract and one of the most subtle ways of communicating artistic ideas that there is. But right now, the field is stuck in this quagmire of preservation as opposed to a festival of new art and new ideas. And I think that if we're brave enough and if we play brave enough music and interesting enough music, we can foment revolution and we can make ourselves relevant today.
Continue
clap for me, Dave. Claps, and there we are. It is now rolling. The film, audio, everything else.
So next up is Felix Tredici, and he's just hilarious. He's a very weird type of person, but brilliant. This is a quick one on him coming back to Chelsea to basically reconnect with some family values, and it's really dope how it turns out.
But if you got something like, if I feel bad, I can play music. And those things make you feel great, you know, make you feel really good inside. Plus, it's something that you can't get enough of.
This one coming up is, originally it was the second episode of the Notice Vlog. You know, now they're a little bit longer, so I gotta give you a little bit more. I hope you enjoy this one. This was, you know, the worlds collide. They're just very, very funny people. I present to you, No Pants Mozart.
What do you do? My name's Felix. I'm from Montreal.
Don't talk with your hands in front of your mouth, Felix.
What
the fuck?
Alright, I'm gonna restart. I'm gonna restart. Cameras up there?
Yeah,
Just be naked?
Yeah.
All the way?
Yeah.
Then we can't put it on YouTube.
We can put it on Vimeo.
Only filmmakers use Vimeo.
What
I
do you
could
do?
wear a bathrobe.
How about you wear a bathrobe while I wear my underwear? I like the underwear idea.
Oh, my bathrobe's out. out with the wash. Yeah, we have ice cream. Do you guys want to take an ice cream break?
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Revolution is sort of the first thing that comes to my head when I think about music, because it's this ridiculously amazing tool. It's like this magical crystal the whole world is using for doorstops.
You know, I mean, look at all the shit that's going on every day. I don't really know how to react to it, and I feel like I should react. And for me, it's always just like I'm just sitting here with my trombone, you know, playing long tones. And so right now, I'm trying to figure out where this and where I fit into that kind of, just in any kind of general way. That's a statement. That's an honest statement about how I feel. So how do I feel about what's actually going on? How do I stand on all these issues? You know, it's
much like Felix. I see all these things happening around me, and I feel it necessary to use all the tools that I have at my disposal to communicate something not only cathartic, but something that even more important than catharsis is transformation. We can make these noises in a room in front of other people, and it will somehow change their minds, and eventually those people's minds can change something in the physical world. I think I can do more with my trombone than I can with my back and my legs.
it has a lot of ghosts in the room, and there's a lot of things you can't do just because.
Yeah, I mean, there's the word dogma comes to mind. I'm very, very, very sensitive to dogma. I try my best to not use the word should, because it's such a loaded word. K113 should be played at this tempo, should be played with this articulation.
All right, so why do you do this? Like, why are you still a musician now? And what puts you in this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's I feel like those questions get harder to answer every day, to be honest. At least where I am right now.
There's a quote I want to read.
Yeah.
It's in this stack somewhere. I can find it. I swear I can find it really, really fast. It's right here, I promise. I can't find the exact quote at the moment, but Martha Graham.
Martha Graham?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, keep the channel open.
Keeps the channel open.
I can find it.
You
Keep
can find it?
jiving and I'll get the quote.
Yeah, this Martha Graham quote. Our teacher Dave Taylor turned me on to this quote.
Dave Taylor.
Dave Taylor was our teacher, arguably the greatest bass trombone player that ever lived. It's a lot easier to name the people in the orchestras that he hasn't played with.
For me, a life-changing force of nature, man. You know, when I heard him, it was really just that moment where I said, okay, it's going to be okay. If you as a trombone player can do that, you know, have the courage to stand up in front of a bunch of people and do that with your instrument, it was great because he kind of changed my relationship to the instrument. Like, I never thought of, you know, I don't know, you have to kind of mark a point where you start thinking of your trombone as more than just the trombone, as like an amplifier of your voice, of what you want to say on the inside.
Revolution is sort of the first thing that comes to my head when I think about music, because it's this ridiculously amazing tool. It's like this magical crystal that the whole world is using for door.
There's a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there's only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how valuable, nor how it compares with other expressions. It's your business to keep it yours clearly and directly, and to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep yourself open and aware to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. No artist is pleased. There's no satisfaction whatever at any time. There's only a queer, divine dissatisfaction, a blessed unrest that keeps us marching and makes us more alive than the others.